everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm getting used to the Wednesdays. Hopefully everybody else is too. I did forget to post this morning to remind you it was Wednesday. So hopefully everybody remembered that. I was too worried about the heat. I think I was thinking about how hot it was and was listening to the news this morning instead of thinking about posting for the group. But I'm sure everybody will find us. So how is everybody this evening? It's going to be hot again tomorrow, but hopefully we'll have a nicer day. Sounds like Friday and Saturday might be nicer. So hopefully everybody's finding me. We're going to have a little fun with the little zipper bags tonight. They are really fun to do. Hello. So hopefully everybody can find us tonight. Everybody's getting used to everybody's getting used to the Wednesdays. It'll take a little getting used to. I've had people say, "Oh, I forgot it because it's Wednesday." Well, I think everybody will get the hang of it, just like I do. I am getting the hang of it. Cutting while you watch. Oh, Jackie, hi. Hello, people are finding us. Say something when you come in. So it's pretty warm in my sewing room. My sewing room is on the southwest corner of my house. And so when I walked into my sewing room, I have a weather station up here on the wall. It said that on my doorstep, that's where the little thing is for the outside. It was 123 degrees on my doorstep this afternoon. And it's gone down to 97, so it's cooler than it was. Out there, the sun's starting to go down, so it'll be better. That sun is hot. I spent most of the day inside. I had to go out. We got some freight in today, so I was unloading pallets and hauling sewing machines in, and so it got a little warm out there. Oh, you put me on your calendar. You know what? That's what I do too. Is I put it on my phone so that I remember what day I'm doing what. You know. Sometimes I get who said that they put me on the calendar? Oh, Maureen. Yeah, I do that too. Because I forget things if I don't put it on my calendar on my phone, and then it dings at me to remind me that things are coming up. I'm doing much better though with the Wednesdays. I get home and then I have time to get a little supper and stuff before we start. So yes, no biking today. That must be Marianne. Marianne, you remembered it's Wednesday. I'm so glad that you made it tonight. So remember, everybody, we're going to have a drawing at the end of class, and remember to comment. That's how you get entered to win into the drawing. So make sure you're making comments during the class and everything. So hopefully everybody will find us here. So had a lot of people interested in these little bags. So they are really fun and they're easy to make. They just take a little time. I mean, they're not hard, but they do take a little fiddling around because, you know, it is a bag. So you have to do a little messing around with it and that kind of stuff, but it's really fun. So we are going to be making these tonight. And so we'll go through all the stuff. 94 in Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, that sounds cool. Who said that? That sounds cool to me. It was 100 here, so. So here is this is the first one I made, this Hershey's one. This was like from the snack size little Hershey's bars. So we're going to make these. And then I made one out of a Lifesavers bag. So this one was a little bit bigger, as you can see. Just a second here. I have a cat that thinks she needs to sit on my lap, and I'm getting kind of warm. So, and this one was the Lifesavers bag. So it was a pretty good sized bag. Now you can either use the front and the back of the bag, or you can just use two fronts. Like if you have two bags, you could use two fronts on, you know, but I've been using the front and the back because I didn't have two of anything. So, but it is kind of fun to do. And I've got like 3 bags started here. So we're going to like do part of it. We're going to do like part of it in with one bag and part of it with another, so you don't have to. Aren't they cute? They are really fun. And I'm going to do an M&M bag. I've got an M&M bag that we're going to do tonight. So I don't know who said they like the M&Ms. So, oh, Marianne. So yeah, the M&M bags is what we're going to actually sew on tonight, because I have an M&M bag and I have a Hershey's. Let's see, it's a peanut butter cup bag, and then I think my sample of what you need is a Baby Ruth bag. So but I didn't have like duplicates of anything. So I'm using the front and the back of the bag. All right. So I've got the front and the back. All right. Okay. So let me get we got a lot to do tonight. So I think we got people coming in now. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So let me go ahead and turn off my banner, and then I will switch the camera over. And let's talk about what we need to make this project first. Got to get my microphone. Okay. All right. So we're going to start by talking about what we need for this project. So I kind of cut these. This is going to be my sample of what you need. And then I've got 2 other bags we're going to be working on. All right. So I took my bag, and they can be any size. I've even done them in little tiny bags as small as like the little individual chip bags, that kind of thing. So, whatever. Yep, Halloween candy is coming. So the holiday bags are really fun because they often have really cool colors. The Christmas and the Easter bags are always really fun. So, but these were some, actually, Lynn, thank you very much, Lynn, for sending me some bags, because I don't eat a lot of candy, so I didn't have any bags. So Lynn took pity on me and sent me some bags. So, okay, so what you'll need is your bag. And I'm using the front and the back of the bag. So what I did, and when you open your bags, like if you buy your candy and you open your bags, be careful how you open them. Take scissors and cut them open on both sides so you have as much of the bag that is in good shape as you can, okay? So I did that. Lynn did these very nicely, and they were very clean on the edge. And then what I do is, if there's any bit of the little, how they have those little serrated ends, kind of, I just made sure that I cut them off nice and smooth. And then make sure your front and the back of your bag is the same size. So I separated mine, and they're the same size. So I am going to use the backs of the bags. You don't have to. You could use 2 fronts if you have 2 of the same bag. But I'm going to use the front and the back of the bag. Okay. Now, you'll need to also look at your bags to see if there's clear open spots. So like this one is clear open. This is this has got an opening. So what I did with this bag, and I think there might, no, I don't think there's an opening. Sometimes there's one on the back too. So make sure you look at your bags to make sure that if there's clear opening somewhere. Now, like this one, then what I did is I cut a piece of fabric so that I could put it behind my clear opening to cover that up, like that. Otherwise, you'll just see batting in there. You don't want that. So I just put I had a piece of fabric that matched my lining. So you need your 2 pieces of your bag, and I kind of measured my bag. And then to cut my lining, I just cut the lining the same size. So the bags are going to be, unstandard. So whatever. Oh, Cindy, am I hard to find? I'm sorry. I just come on to the Facebook group. So you have to refresh your screen. So like if you come on early, so if you're having problems finding me, if you come on early, before 7 and I'm not on yet, just hit the refresh button at the top of your browser until it comes on. Okay. So if you have a little trouble that way, but these bags, they're all going to be different sizes. So I can't tell you how big, to cut your lining and stuff. So what I do is I get my bag kind of the way I want it. And then I cut my lining. So you need 2 pieces of lining, the same size as your bags. Okay. So that's what I did here. So I've got 2 pieces of lining. And then this one had that clear opening. So I cut a piece of the fabric that matched my lining to put behind that clear opening like that. Okay, so that's what I did with that one. So you need the 2 bags, the front and the back, or 2 fronts, or whatever you want to use, and then 2 pieces of lining, check your bag if you have a clear place that you need a piece of fabric to cover up your batting. And then you need 2 pieces of Pellon. This is Pellon Vinyl Fuse. Okay. No, there are no written instructions. I just kind of made this up as I go. So I do apologize about that, Denise. You'll have to watch the video. It's very easy to do, but you'll just have to maybe make some notes of your own. I just kind of figured this out as I made them. Okay. Oh yeah. So if you have trouble finding me, just hit refresh, Cindy, and then it'll come up. So then I took my 2 pieces of vinyl fuse. Now let me show you the vinyl fuse here. Vinyl, they have a couple different kinds of vinyl fuse. Now I got these at I think at Joann's. So they have vinyl fuse, and they have a matte, and they have a clear. Now I usually use the clear because then you have really good, you know, a really good view of your bag and what it says. Okay. So I like to use the clear if I can. So, oh, hi, Clara. Oh yeah, tonight's candy bag night. So, all right. So you can use the matte. The matte looks nice, but it is going to slightly mute whatever you put it on. So you might want to try both of them and then just do a test and see what you like. I usually use the clear, what they call clear gloss. Okay, so there's clear gloss, and it's called vinyl fuse, and then matte finish. Okay, so either one will work. Now, just so you know, you can make these out of fabric. So if you don't like the candy wrappers, just make them out of fabric, and you can still put the vinyl fuse on them to give them, to make them more waterproof. So if you want to do that, just make them out of fabric. That works too. Okay, so you're going to need 2 pieces of that vinyl fuse. And so I cut them, you know, again, the same size as my bag. Okay. What is MSQ? I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, Missouri Stars quilts. Yes, she did. She did a version of this, but it's not the same one that I did. We're doing some stuff with the Luminaire Dream Machine Destiny also, but she did. Yes, Missouri Star Quilts did have a video of how to sew them together. Yes, Missouri Star Quilts, MSQ. Yep, that's what it is. Okay, so I got my 2 pieces of vinyl fuse here because there's like a piece of paper on one side. All right, and a zipper. You'll need a zipper. I just use the zippers I have, and you want your zipper to be approximately at least 2 inches larger than the width of your bag. So you'll kind of have to measure your bag and see. Like I had to use like 14-inch zippers. I had 14-inch zippers. And then like some of my bags are a little smaller, so I could use maybe a 9 or 10-inch zipper. Okay. So whichever size. So just kind of measure, and then you need at least a zipper, at least a couple of inches larger. Okay, so that's the stuff we need. We need our 2 pieces of vinyl fuse, the zipper, 2 inches larger. You need 2 pieces of lining, the same size as your bag front. I am doing this both. Somebody asked if I'm doing this in the hoop or sewing. We are going to do this in the hoop to quilt it, and we're going to sew it together. Okay. Okay. Oh yes, yeah. Did you notice my audience moved? Yes, she decided she's going back to her tuffet, I think. So, all right. So we've got our 2 pieces of lining, our 2 pieces of bag, and then I had to have a piece to cover up the clear opening on my bag. So I had that in this little sample set, and then we need 2 pieces of batting, and I just use scraps out of my this is a Hobbs 80/20. So 2 pieces of batting that are the same size. So I just kind of cut everything about the same size. Okay. And then you'll need no-show mesh stabilizer. So I got that. So that's my little kit. I'm going to put this down because that's what I wanted to show you, the pieces. And then we've got some of it. I've got some of it in the hoop already. And then I've got some of it back here. And then I'm going to show you how to do the vinyl fuse. Okay. All right, so I went ahead and before you do this after the vinyl fuse, so I'll show you that first, and then I'll show you this is how I put it in the hoop. And we'll do both sides of this bag. So we're going to do M&M bag in class tonight, and then I've got a another one that we're going to sew together because it's dry. And this is my Reese's peanut butter cups bag. All right, you can see I needed some fabric for this one because I had some clear places on the bag, so I put some fabric in this one. Right? Okay. Depending on your bag, some of them have spots and some of them don't. So, all right. So now let's talk about the vinyl fuse. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do this on my machine. So let me push this back. So the first thing you got to do is to put your vinyl fuse on, and it tells you in the instructions on the back of the package. Let me see if I find the right one here. It tells you what to do. It's on the back of the package, okay? The one thing I tell you not to do is to iron on both sides of this stuff because this is a bag, okay? Don't iron, just iron on the front of it, not on the back. It tells you to iron on both sides, but don't do that with this because you might melt your bag, okay? Because this is a bag, not a piece of fabric. I use this on my fabric, and I very rarely iron on the back. I usually just iron on the front. Okay, so what you got to do is you got to take this vinyl fuse off this little, you know, the little paper thing here. This is always the hardest thing, is to get it to start. Okay. Oops, I think I got it. How did you get your bag so smooth? They were kind of smooth already. This is a pretty thick bag too. Okay, so I've got my vinyl fuse here. So what you do, let me put this down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. You kind of have to get this lined up, and it's kind of tacky on the back surface where I took the paper off. It's kind of tacky. And I'm going to lay this down on my bag. Try to get it even here. Okay. And then I'm going to try to smooth it out the best I can over my bag. Do the best you can. It might be a little wrinkly. Remember, this is a bag, not a piece of fabric. So you might have a little wrinkle here or there. But that's okay because we're going to quilt it and it's going to look really good. I didn't do anything to my bags. They were pretty smooth. One thing you could do is Lynn had these evidently in like a box. You know, she kept them in a box and they were kind of weighting each other down. You could put something like heavy on it for a little bit before you use it. Okay, so I'm going to put my vinyl fuse on. Okay, so I've got it all stuck down. And then I'm going to put this over here on my ironing mat. And I'm just going to bring this up so you can kind of see. Okay, and I've got my iron at about number 3 on my iron, and I think it says, what does it say on here for your iron temperature? A dry iron on a medium setting. So my iron is on number 3, and I'm going to take so I've got the vinyl fuse. You can see it's on the top of the bag now. Okay, and I'm going to lay this down on my mat. And I'm going to take that piece of paper, all right, and lay it down on top of that plastic stuff that I just took off. And there's a shiny side, so I usually put the shiny side down on it. So I'm going to take that piece of paper and turn off the steam, okay, and I'm going to lay this down on top. Now, since this is a bag, I'm also going to lay a piece of I've got an old tea towel here. I'm going to lay this over the top too, because depending on your bag, some bags you don't need to do this, but this one wanted to kind of roll up on me. So I'm going to put my towel over too. It doesn't say to do this, but this one worked better with the towel. And I'm just going to press down, okay, on this for a few seconds. And I've got the paper under there too. And it may roll up. It's okay if it does that. It'll flatten out again. I can see it's rolling, so it's flat. It'll flatten out again once it cools off. Okay. Let's see how we did here. All right. So here's my bag. See, it kind of wanted to roll up, and it's okay. I'm just going to take this off now, and there's my vinyl fuse. Okay, I have cat hair on the top of it, sorry, because my cat was laying on her mat. So We'll just cut that little bit of vinyl fuse off. I have a little piece sticking up, and we'll cut cat hair off here. She likes that mat, and everything is covered in cat hair when I use it. It's not for my ironing anymore. It's for her comfort, I think. All right. So there we go. And you can see it curled a little bit. It'll be okay when we put it in to do the quilting. But I don't iron on the back. It says on the instructions to do that. Just don't iron on the back, because I almost melted my bag that way. So I just ironed on the front with the towel too. You can check your bag. Like I used the one for the Hershey's, the peanut butter cups. They were fine. But this one this is a M&M's bag, and this one kind of wanted to curl on me. So, all right, so that's how you put the vinyl fuse on. So you're going to put one piece on the front of each one. That just gives the bag a little bit of stability. And you can use this with the fabric, and it makes it a little bit more waterproof. So it's kind of nice to do that too. So I often use this with my fabric too. And it makes it look a little shiny. So, okay, so there's our the first step is to put the vinyl fuse on. Okay. Then the second step is you're going to go ahead and hoop. This is making you hungry for M&Ms. Yeah, so here's the M&M bag. Okay, so now we're going to come back down here. And give me just a second. I'm going to unplug this iron so that it's not so hot. One more hot thing in my face here. You won't need the iron again, so I'll get that out of my way so it's not so hot. Okay. Okay, so then what I do is I take my no-show mesh and put it in the hoop. And I have this in a 9.5 by 14 hoop. You'll have to measure your bags because you're going to have to sew just a little bit past the bag when we go to do the quilting. So make sure you've got a big enough hoop. So it depends on your bag size, of course. If you have a small bag, just use a smaller hoop. I just have this in a 9.5 by 14. So what I did then is I took my no-show mesh and put it in my hoop. And then I took my batting and laid it down, approximately in the center of the hoop. And then I laid my first half of my bag on top of my batting. Okay. And then, yeah, the cookie recipe's on the back. I thought that was cool. The cookie recipe's on the back. Oh, and I should tell you what the prize is. The prize tonight, so if you make a comment, remember you get entered to win a prize if you make a comment. And the prize will be one of the 4 bags. So you get to choose the bag you want. You either get the Lifesavers bag, the Hershey's milk chocolate bag, the M&M bag, or the Reese's peanut butter cup bag. Okay, so you get to choose which bag you want. I've got 4 bags here. You can have whichever one you want. Okay, so that'll be whoever wins tonight, that's what you get. Okay. The very cool bag. What size bag is that? I don't know. This was like one of those big bulk bags. I don't know how big it is. It's about 7 by 8.5, maybe. Okay. So I took then, and of course I've got my vinyl fuse on here. So I've got my batting, and then I've got my bag with my vinyl fuse. And then I took a piece of the water-soluble topping, just the regular old water-soluble topping, okay, that we use on a lot of different things, okay? And I made it big enough so that it goes all over the whole thing, because remember, we're going to be quilting over this, so we need to make sure we cover up all these edges and everything so we don't get anything caught, okay? So that's what I have is I made my piece pretty good size, as you can see, and I've got it all taped down. Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to do first. So that's the next step. We got it all in the hoop here. Okay. Now, if you give me a second, I'm going to open this up to embroidery, my machine, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay. So I'm going to put this in my machine. And we're going to use Design Center IQ Designer. So a lot of the machines that you would have will have this ability. So we're gonna actually quilt this. Yeah, they are all going to be really cute. I'm anxious to get these done. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do then is we're going to you could put the vinyl on both sides if you're using fabric, although the fabric on the inside is going to be your lining. So don't put it in, just put it on the front of the bag and then put it on the inside of the lining, like the right side of the lining. And then you'd have like a waterproof bag if you wanted to put cosmetics or something like that in it. Yes, that would work fine. Okay, so we got this in the hoop and I've got it all arranged kind of roughly in the middle. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to make our design, because we're going to quilt this, and we're going to use Design Center IQ Designer. Now, Design Center and IQ Designer is in a lot of the Brother Baby Lock machines. You know, Dream Machines, Destinies, the Stellaires, the Meridian, the Altair. You know, there's a lot of machines that have this in it. If you do not have this part, that's fine. You can just quilt this on your sewing machine. Just do some straight line quilting or something and you can quilt it. So if you don't have this machine and you can't do this part, you can still just quilt it yourself. I just use some simple straight line quilting to quilt it. Okay. I have washed Vinyl Fuse, yes, because sometimes I put it on shirts. So yes, I have washed it. I wouldn't put it in the dryer because it might melt it, because it's kind of temperature, you know, a temperature thing. Okay. So now what we need to do is we're going to scan the hoop so we know how big we need to make our little design to go over our bag. So the scanning button on this machine is the little leaf button. Okay, this is the Luminaire. And we're going to image scan. So basically what we're doing is scanning what's in my hoop. Okay, so I'm going to hit image scan, and then I'm going to hit the scan button. And okay, and it's just going to scan what's in my hoop. Instead of measuring and doing all that, I just did it this way and just made it work. So this is the way I've always done these. So it's scanning. You're shopping for candy tomorrow. Yeah, that's the thing. And the seasonal bags are always really pretty. So you can get Halloween and you'll soon be able to get Christmas and all that. So yeah, you can get really cute bags. So it's still scanning. And it's thinking. It takes a little bit. This is a big hoop, so it takes a little bit for it to scan. Okay, so there's our bag. We can see the bag up there in the screen now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually just going to make a little quilting design to go over the top of it. And we can just make it by guessing the size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in first and get my shape. Since it's kind of a square or rectangular shape, I'm just going to hit the little shapes button here. And I'm going to go get, now this is a fill. So all I need is a fill. I don't need an outline or anything. So I'm going to choose the second button here because this is the fills. This is the outlines. This is the fills. And this is a fill and an outline. But I just need a fill. So we're just going to hit the fill. And I'm going to use the square. Okay. Hit OK down here. And then it comes up and it's almost big enough. It's not quite big enough. So let's go ahead and hit the size button here. And I need it to be wider so that it covers my bag. So I'm just going to pull it out widthwise here. Might need to move it over if it gets, oops, second here, it's getting kind of wide. So we may have to move it over a little bit. Let's see here. Whoops. Now it's a little wide, so I'm going to pull it back in again. So this is, I've just always done them, you know, by just, you know, covering my bag. That looks pretty good. So let's see. Let's go down in a little bit more. All right. So now we need to make it long enough so that it will fit the length. So let's pull it this way. And I'm just using this, I'm pulling it out with this button here. I could have measured it, but I've always just done them this way. So let's move this down a little bit. And if we need to change the size a little bit more, we can. I think I'll make it just a little bit longer. You just want to make sure that it covers the bag. I think that's pretty good. All right, so there's my basic shape. Okay, then I'll hit OK. And I didn't see how big it was to see. It says it's about, you know, I know it was around 7 or 8. So, okay. So it looks pretty good. All right. So then I'm going to go and I'm going to fill this with a fill. So let's go ahead. This is the fills, these buttons here, and this is the line properties. So we're going to use fill properties. Now remember, when you choose a fill, choose something fairly simple and not too dense, because remember, this is a bag. It's not fabric. If you're using fabric, then choose something a little more complicated, okay? But since it's a bag, we're going to choose one that's not too dense, okay? So I'm going to choose one of my decorative fills. You could also choose stipples if you want, but I'm going to do decorative fills, and I'm going to hit select. Now, I often use ones that are these kind of like 5 and 6 are good ones because they're not too super, you know, super duper dense. 16's pretty good on my machine. You know, I use 24 on one of them. 26 is pretty good. 28, you know, so you could use any of these. Okay. So let's go up and use, I use 24. Let's do, you know, 25 would be okay. Let's try 25. 25 is kind of neat. I'm not sure if I like that on my M&M bag. Let's do one that's not quite so complicated. Let's see. Let's do the diamonds. Okay, you like 26 too? Yeah, 26 would be good. Oh, the shells, that would be good. Yeah, let's do the little cross hatches. Those are just kind of simple, so those will be good. All right, so let's choose that one. That's number 5, and it doesn't matter what color it is, so I'm just going to leave it red and hit OK. Now I have to place it in there, so I'm going to hit my little paint pot, and then I'm going to touch the red box, and there's my little lines. Now, if you want it to be a different orientation, which I do, we'll do that here in a minute. All right, so we're going to hit next down here. Looks like the size is good. It's covering my whole bag, so I think we'll be good. Okay, so if you want to change the size of the design, you change it here, okay? Yes, you could use those also, but again, if you have some of the ones from Baby Lock and stuff, or like the ones we made in the class a few weeks ago. Yes, I did this one. Where is it here? This one here was done. This one here was done with one of the chevron design that I made myself. Okay. So whichever one works for you. All right. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at 100%. That should be good. I am going to turn this because I would like this to go the other way because my bag is up and down this way. So I'm going to take this little button and I'm going to turn it to, I think it needs to be turned to 90 degrees and hit OK. So let's see what happens here. Yes. So now it's longer going this way because my bag is this way. Okay. And these two buttons here, these two buttons here allow me to skew this. So you can change it a little bit and make it more skewed if you'd like. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use this simple design tonight. And then this bottom button on my machine is the thickness. Now with this, since this is a bag, you know, we're sewing on a bag, let's make it thinner. I don't want it to be so dense that it rips through my bag. So I'm going to use the thin line instead of the thicker line. So a lot of the Dream Machine and Destiny do not have this option. The Solaris and the Luminaires do. And I think They might have added it to the Stellaire also, but I haven't, I don't have it here to check it. But this option is nice. So if you have the choice, choose the lighter fill. Okay. So I'm going to hit OK. All right. So I think that's going to be good. I can see that it's all the way around my bag. All right. And I'm going to hit set. I think I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to hit OK. Yeah. And if you don't have this option, just quilt it. Just quilt it on your sewing machine. That is absolutely fine. Yes. So the single, the lighter, it still might go over it more than once. I'm not saying it won't, but it is going to be a much lighter fill than if you use the thicker one. Okay. And yeah. So if your machine's older, that's fine. Just so you can just quilt it. It's not hard to do. You can just kind of put it all together, maybe put a piece of stabilizer on the back, and then kind of tape it down along the edges and just quilt it on your sewing machine. That's fine. All right. Okay. So we got this ready. I'm going to hit embroidery now. So now I'm ready to embroider. All right. So let's go over here. We're going to start embroidering here pretty soon. Now let's talk a little bit about thread. So you can do this several different ways. If you want to, you can use regular embroidery thread, okay, that matches your bag or whatever. Now, I have a tendency on these to use monofilament in the needle because then it doesn't really show. It just shows the texture, but it doesn't hide the words and stuff on my bags. So I'm going to use monofilament. So I just have my transfill. It's Mettler transfill in the needle, and I have a number 11 needle on, and then in the bobbin I just have my regular bobbin thread. Okay, and that's how I'm going to quilt this. So make sure your topper is all taped down, and get your tape out of the way so it won't catch on anything. And we're going to start embroidering. So I'm just going to put my foot down and we're going to embroider our bag. And you might have to kind of hold it down if it wants to be, this is a little bit curly, so we'll just kind of hold it down. Yeah, I like the monofilament on these just because it doesn't hide it. You see the texture, but it doesn't hide the, you know, what's on my bag then. Because I like the bag to be, you know, really show. The bobbin just has regular bobbin thread. So it has my embroidery bobbin thread in it. I'm using a pre-wound. So I have my tighter blue dotted bobbin case in there and my pre-wound bobbin. And then I just have the monofilament on the top. Isn't this cool? Yeah, they are really fun. I learned to make these. I haven't made one of these for a long time. And so I had to kind of sit and work at it one afternoon, you know. Does the Mettler Transfill come in dark and light? Yes, it does. So you could have, on this one, you could have used like the smoke colored one, although it would maybe show on the white. So, yeah, so you can, this is just the clear that I'm using now. No, I do not change the tension on my machine. It just sews beautifully with it. The Transfill, I've tried a lot of different monofilaments, and this is my favorite monofilm by far. It's on the website. It's just called Mettler Transfill, and it is excellent monofilament. I put it in the bobbin all the time too. So now the only thing I do different with it, as you can, I don't know if you saw when I push this up, but I do lay this thread down. It likes to lay down. It does not like to be up on my thread stand up here. So I do lay it down on the spool pan. So that's the only thing I do different. And we'll do the other half of the bag too. These are really fun to do. Yeah, I just, like I said, I wanted to do these a while ago, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't have any bags. And I said something to my friend Lynn, and Lynn sent me a whole bunch of bags. I still have some bags left, so I can make some more. They're fun to do. No, it won't be too, if you have a Destiny, it won't be too thick. My first ones were done with the Dream Machine. So just pick something that's not too complicated and it'll be fine. So like this design is in the Destinies and the Dream Machine, so you won't have any trouble. But if you have the option to pick between the thinner and the thicker, use the thinner. So yeah, it's getting about done. But this is why we want to put the water soluble on top, because you know with the bag and stuff, the edges are all open, and this was the easiest way that I could come up with to not have my foot grab stuff and pull it all out of the hoop. So this seems to work pretty well. If I use tape, it never works. But that way it just has a nice little quilted look to it. And I just think this adds a little bit. Now some of the other videos that I've seen that do the bags, just do the bags with the vinyl fuse, but then they don't do any quilting on them and they're just the bag. So these hold up way better in the long run because of the quilting on them. Okay, so there we go. So there's our first side. Isn't that cool? So that's our front. So I'm just going to pop this out of the hoop and let's pop in the second one here, and we'll do the other one. So now, with any luck at all, if you were careful when you cut your bags, your front and your back are the same size, so we don't have to do the design again. Again, it's going to work for the second side too. Okay, might have to move it. We'll see how that goes. All right, so let me lay this one down here for a minute. Let me get my other piece of paper here, or my other stabilizer piece. Isn't that cute? I think they're cute. They're just fun to do. I thought this would be a fun class. This is a great class for a hot evening, isn't it? All right, so I'm going to put this, I'm going to have to stand up to do this because this hoop's kind of big. Let me hoop this over here. Easier on a table. And the other thing is too, while I'm hooping this, you do want to make sure that your stabilizer is pretty taut. As you can see, I have it quite taut. I have used the snap hoops for these. It would work fine as long as you can get your stabilizer taut enough. I usually when I just put stabilizer in a hoop, I normally use standard hoops. And the reason being, the snap hoop, there's going to be a space between the stabilizer and the bed of the machine. And then with these, the stabilizer is laying flat. And if that's the only thing that's in there, there's a space in there and things kind of go like this. So I normally use regular hoops when I'm just hooping a piece of stabilizer. Okay, so now we're going to do, this is how I hoop this. So we're just going to lay our batting in here. I think I left my tape over here too. Get my tape. I got my Kimberbell tape. So we're just going to kind of roughly put this in the center. And then I'm going to take my other bag. So here's my other bag, or other half of the bag, I should say, and lay it down on my batting. And then I'm going to take my piece. I've got another piece cut here. And here's another piece of my water soluble. And I made it just a little longer, so that I can have a little something to tape. So, and I like to tape the corners so that it doesn't roll up on me. So we'll tape the corners down here and kind of move it so that it's, and, pull it so it's taut. Holds everything down for you. And this is Kimberbell paper tape, so That works really well for this. It's pretty sticky and it sticks well to the stabilizer. And then I'm going to put some tape over here on the sides too. And I don't keep these designs, you know, I just get rid of them once I use it, because I'll just make another one for the next bag because it'll probably be a different size. Okay, so there it's all taped in there. Okay. And then I'm going to put this back in. And now we need to know where, you know, to put our design, right? So we're going to go over here and we need to scan again. I'm going to hit OK because we're done embroidering, but I'm going to hit my little scanning button. Looks like the little camera, and I'm going to scan so that we know where to put our design, because it may not have been quite in the same place, you know. So it's going to scan, and then we can make sure that our design covers our little bag. All right, let's see here. Looks like it needs to come over this way a little bit. Oh, let me hit this, and I'm going to do layout and move. So I can move, I need to move it back over this way just a little bit. Kind of get it lined up. That looks pretty good. So it's covering the whole thing. It looks pretty good. All right. Yes. Okay, so yes and no for the needle threader with your monofilament. Sometimes my needle is very happy to thread it, and sometimes it's not. So it may just depend on the knife for your machine. Mine did thread it. I left it threaded, so it was already threaded. And I am using a number 11 organ needle, and it was very happy, and it threaded it tonight. So I don't know. Your machine may or may not. Now, the one thing I'll tell you, and I don't know if my camera will reach over here, but when you go to thread your machine, and this goes for all the Luminaires, just so you know, if you come up around over here, right behind this little spot right here, there's a little square area that looks, it's kind of square, and it's like a slot. And you need to make sure that your thread, let's see if I can get it to do it, if it'll thread it for me. You have to make sure that your thread is underneath that little square thing that juts down. It's right behind this, and my camera's not long enough, but if it's behind there, normally it'll thread, and sometimes I have to push down with my finger. So especially with this monofilament. So let's see if it threads it again tonight. Yep, I think it threaded it. So as long as I have it behind that little spot, it'll thread it for me. Okay, so sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. What kind of stabilizer am I using? This is just no-show mesh. Okay, but yeah, I can't get this over here far enough for you to see this, but it's like a little square that's right behind number 7 right here. And then if you go down behind that and then up and over your cutter, then if you're having problems with your machine threading very often, especially the Luminaire and the Solaris, you're not getting it behind that little square, because that's what holds it in place when it threads. Okay. So mine's very happy and it threaded for me. All right, so now we're ready to do our second bag. So this is the back half of the bag. We're going to do this one. So don't forget for those of you who are just coming in, that there's the drawing tonight will be one of the bags. You get your choice of the bag, and I'll show them to you at the end. And you get entered to win the bag by commenting. And we're going to sew these together. They don't take too long to do. This is the fun part, is doing the embroidery part of it. So I may stumble a little bit with my sewing. Sometimes I have a little bit. Yes, I did. Yes, I did scan. I already scanned, and I moved my design over a little bit. I already scanned. Yep, these are fun. And it's just something different to do. You know, it's just something fun and silly that people will get a kick out of, you know. Yeah, I like this one because it has the cookie recipe on the back of it. That's why I wanted to use the back of the bag. Yep, an IQ Designer, we're just doing a simple little bit in there, but this is kind of how I started learning IQ Designer. is just doing simple little things like this. Yes, so what I did with this one, let me show you that. Somebody asked about the fabric. So like this bag here, well, this is sewing. This bag here, what I did before I laid the bag down, I laid this piece of fabric in that clear spot and just put it over the batting so you wouldn't see the batting. Okay, that's how you do that. So this one has one of those pieces. And there was a piece on the back too. Okay. And then this one had a clear spot right down the middle of the bag. So I put a piece of fabric in there, and there was a little piece up here too. So I just laid some fabric scraps in there to cover up the batting. Okay. Yes, I think there would be a way to put the zipper in the hoop, but I've never digitized it. I've always just put these together with the sewing machine. They're really not hard. I just have to, think to make sure I'm putting the zipper in correctly. So they're really not very hard. I think it'd be harder to digitize it than it is for me just to sit and sew it. So I've always just done them this way. I like this part though. I like the quilting because I think it makes them look different. And they hold up so much better because I've got some of these bags I made 4 or 5 years ago. I'll go grab one of my old ones that I've gotten. It was a little small bag, and I use it for like my earbuds and stuff. And it's 5 or 6 years old and looks brand new. I'll go grab it while this is sewing. This is one of my favorite ones I've ever made. It was made out of one of those little king-sized M&M bags. And then, see, I keep my earphones in it. Like that. So that was a little bag, and it sewed up just real nice. So that one's, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old because this is one of the first ones I ever made because all I ever ate was M&Ms. So that's about all I had was these little teeny M&M bags. So I think the hardest thing of this is what is the biggest bag? Honestly, most of the bags I've made have been small. So I think the biggest bag I've ever made was the Lifesavers bag. And these bags, because I've always just made little ones like this and like the little chip bags, because that's all I've ever had to make. But Lynn gave me some bigger bags. Okay, so the next section is the hardest thing about these. Okay, so we have this, we have this clear stuff, and you got to get it off and out from underneath all that stuff. Okay, so there's 2 ways to do this. You can just pull it off. Okay, this is the part, and that's why I'm gonna sew together a different bag tonight because I wasn't sure the fastest way and this way. The fastest way is to use a little water, and then I have to let it set for a while. Okay, so you could sit here and pick out every single one of these little pieces. Okay, I've done that too. It's not that hard, but it takes some time. All right, each one of these little pieces, I could take each one of these out, like that. But if you don't want to sit there and pick all these out, you can take your spritz bottle, and I'm just going to spritz this with this is just water, and I'm going to spritz this because this is water soluble. I'm just going to spritz it, and I'll let it set in the hoop like that. Okay. And then it will eventually melt away. I'll take a wet rag and just wipe it clean. All right, that's the fastest way to get it out. Yeah, you can use tweezers. You can pull out every single one, but if you just take water and spritz it and let it sit, then I take an old tea towel and I wet it, and then I just give it a good scrub, and it comes right off. And then I usually dry it off with a paper towel. Okay, or you can just take the whole thing to the sink, dip it in water, and it'll come out that way. But then you have to let the batting dry. So whichever works for you. So like this, I'm just going to let it sit like this, and we're going to sew on a different bag. And then we'll sew on a different bag tonight, and this is how I usually do it. And then I just let it wet. Oh, there's no water soluble on the back. It's just on the top. The reason it's on the top is because I have to cover up all these raw edges so that my foot won't go underneath the bag. But there's none on the back. This is no show mesh that I put on the back. Okay, and batting. So we'll just let this melt, and I'll finish that later. Okay, so there's our two, and I'll do the same thing with this one. I'll squirt it later, and I'll get this one out. All right. So that's how I do it. If you just don't want to have to sit here and pick it all out. So yeah, you can just take your tweezers or whatever and just pick it out. That's fine. Whichever you want to do. I have done it both ways, but I usually just use some water, let it set for a little bit, and then I just take a rag and wipe it off, and it works just fine. Okay. So that's why I made a separate bag so that we wouldn't have to sit here and wait for everything to dry and get it off. Okay. So there is the front and the back. All right, so here is my second bag. This is the one we're going to actually do the sewing on. So what I have done, we're going to switch over to the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup bag. This is the one that I had the fabric under here, and I had a piece of fabric up here, and I had a piece of fabric down the middle that just covered up my batting. Okay. So like I said, the water works really good. And see, this one I did like that, and I just squirted it really good, and then I took my wet tea towel and just scrubbed the stuff off of it, and then I took a paper towel over the top, and see how nice and shiny, and it's not sticky or anything. It's not stiff. Okay, so that worked just fine. That's what I did last night with this one. So all you're going to see on this then is going to be this is the stabilizer, and then here's the battings underneath, and then our bag on the top. Okay, and now this one I used the hexagons on it instead. All right, so then what I do is I want to make sure that they're still the same size. So I just kind of measure like the front. I usually take the front and I measure it and see how wide it is and how tall it is, and I make sure that both of them are the same size. Okay, and then I do the same thing with my linings, my two pieces of lining. I just make sure that they match the size of my bag front and back. So you may have to, I kind of cut mine approximately, and then I usually had, this one I had to cut down just a little bit to have it be the right size. Okay. So that's how you do it. You know, this is very unstandard sizes. I can't tell you how big your bags are going to be. You just have to kind of make everything be the same size. Okay. And your lining. So here's my lining. All right. So now we're going to do some sewing. And I've got a brown zipper for this one. All right, so let's switch over and let's do a little sewing. So we're done. I'm not going to save that pattern in my machine because I won't need it again. I'll probably never have a bag the same size. So they're all, you know, you can just make it each time. No, I don't want my lining to be quilted into the back. No, it's going to be lined like a standard bag. So let me find my bag here. I can show you. Because the way you put these together, the lining is not sewn in, it's separate. So like here's my lining. This is separate, it comes out. Just a regular lining, okay? And I think you could, but then you'd see your seams inside, and I don't want the seams to show inside. So the seams don't show this way, okay? It's just a regular lined bag, okay? And then this one has green. I put some green inside on my green bag. Okay, so there's my Lifesavers bag. I think this is the biggest one I've ever made. Because this one, like I said, I've always had just small bags. So a lot of my bags were this size. I normally had M&M bags. That's all I had to make these out of. So I had a lot of those little ones. And chip bags, those little single chip bags. I have a lot of those. Okay. So let's go ahead and switch this over. I'm going to put my J-foot on my machine. Actually, no, I think I'm going to start with my zipper foot. We got to put the zipper in first. Then we'll switch to the J-foot. Take my embroidery foot off. Put my shank back on. Whew. I'm sorry, I'm very warm. My sewing room is cooler now. This room is in the southwest corner. And oh my gosh, it gets so hot out here when the weather's hot. Yeah, that's my chevron that I made in the class a few weeks ago. Isn't that pretty? I like the chevron. Yep, so I decided I wanted to use one of my custom ones that I made myself. So I thought that was kind of cool. All right. So let me see. Oh, here's my zipper foot. Get that one ready here. And let me get some of these bags out of the way back here so I won't hit them. And I'm going to go to sewing. I'm just going to use a straight stitch in the center to start with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and switch over. Now, I would recommend sewing these together. Yeah, and like I said, when you're doing these, be aware you're sewing on a bag, okay? So don't get them too complicated. So this one is just, this one was a fun one, but it wasn't too complicated. Don't get those real dense ones because they're just going to be too much for the bags, okay? So just be aware we're sewing through a bag, All right, so I'm going to put in just regular, I would suggest sewing these together with polyester, a good strong polyester thread. And this is Metrazine Metler thread that I'm putting in. We sell this at the store too, and I've always used Metler. Oops, I think I lost my zipper. Just a second here. All right. Then I'm going to put my zipper foot on. So what I'm going to do is you want to have your zipper, of course, be just a little bit bigger than your bag. So at least a couple of inches so you have a little wiggle room. When I was quilting the front and back, I just have regular bobbin thread in my needle, in my bobbin. And I had my pre-wound in, so if you give me a minute, I have to switch my bobbin cases here. So since I had my pre-wound, I have to use that tighter one. And now I'm going to put one that I wound in. So I'm going to take this one out that has the dot in it. And I'm going to put my regular bobbin case back in for sewing. So this is the one that has the little green screw right here. Okay. Do I make the stitch a little longer? Actually, no, I didn't. I just left it as it was. Okay. So put this back on. And I'm going to, here's my bobbin. So I'm going to put my polyester sewing thread in because you want them to be strong. So I would suggest a polyester sewing thread. Okay. So this is where, I'll just warn you now, I might make a little boo-boo because every now and then I have to get my seam ripper out when I put these together because I have to think a little hard. Okay. So we're going to start with the front of the bag. And I'm going to lay my zipper with the zipper pull to the left, and I'm going to keep it closed. Okay? Yeah, I like it too. With the little hexagons, I like it. I thought it turned out good. I was real pleased with this one. So then what we're going to do is we're going to lay the top of our bag down, and we're going to be sewing it on this side of the zipper here. Oops, I need to get my clips out so I can clip this. A second. They're in the drawer next to me here. I like the little clover clips for this because I don't like to stick pins. I'll use some pins, but I don't like to stick pins down in this because it shows in the vinyl fuse, So I usually use my clips. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the zipper pull over here closed, and I'm going to take my bag front, and I'm going to put it, face down over the zipper. So the zipper is going to be in the middle there and kind of, make it as close to the center as possible. It doesn't have to be exact. And then I'm going to take one of my lining pieces like this, and I'm going to put it right sides together with the bag, and the zipper is going to be in between. So I'm just going to line these up on the sides here. And I'm a little sweaty, so my fingers are moved. I'm having trouble hanging on to things. It's so warm in here. I can't sit right in front of the air conditioner because it's over on the other side of my sewing table, so I'm very warm. I have fans everywhere. All right. So we're going to get this all lined up. Try to get it lined up as best as you can with your zipper pull in the center. or with your zipper in the center. Okay. So see, there's the back, there's my lining, and there's the top. Okay. And I've got my zipper that way. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to put our zipper foot on, and we're going to sew the zipper on. So the zipper foot, you know, needs to go on so that, you know, your needle's going to be like pretty close here. So we want the zipper to be on, there's two little thingies on this zipper foot. It's going to be on the inside. Okay, like that. Because then when we go to sew, it's going to be on the left hand side as you're looking at it. Because we want the needle to be right here in this little slot right here. Okay. And then what I use to help me get it lined up is I actually kind of put the zipper down, the zipper foot down, and I use this part of my zipper foot right here just to kind of along the edge is how I do it. Because I want it pretty close. All right, like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and tie this off. I'm just going to take a couple stitches. My needle's in the center. And I think I've just got kind of a cream colored thread. And I'm just going to sew the zipper in. Take my clips out. Make sure everything's lined up. I'm a little crooked here, so get everything. Like I said, I'm having a little trouble. I'm sweaty, so my fingers are sliding around on everything. All right. So that way I'm pretty close to the edge of the zipper. Teeth, I should say. Like that. All right, so we'll tie this off. Is the bag the right way up? Yes. So you want the top of the bag. So see the top of the bag? Okay, the top of the bag was up here and my lining like that. And then we're going to fold it down like this. We're going to pull it down. I'm just going to finger press this. Like that. And then when you get done with this side, it should look sort of like that. Okay, and we'll make sure this is all lined up. And I wasn't very straight on my zipper, so I might actually do that again. Sometimes I have a little trouble with, like I said, told you, I was scooting a little bit. So we may just sew the zipper on again, make sure it's good and straight. Sometimes I slip. Whoops, I think I unthreaded my needle. I kind of slipped up here. I'm going to turn it over and see. Right. No, it's not too bad though. We'll just give it another whirl just to make sure I've got it right. I do slide a little bit on. I'm not very good at zippers, but you just have to kind of take your time. This is not my favorite zipper foot, but this is the one that everybody has. I use a different zipper foot very often. It's one of the old style ones that slides, you know. I like that one way better than this one, but everybody has this one. If you have a Brother Baby Lock machine, they come with every machine. What size zipper am I using? So you want to use a zipper that's approximately 2 inches longer than your bag. So it's going to depend on your bag. Okay. So mine's a 14-inch zipper because my bag was pretty good sized. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure these are all kind of folded down. Gonna finger press it. Yeah, I don't like to put zippers in very well. I mean, I've done a lot of zippers, but these are not too bad. Once I got the hang of doing this, it's okay. All right, so then we're going to make sure this is all folded down nicely. And then we're going to just take the same foot. And if you have a little trouble with it, going over this vinyl, you can use a Teflon foot to do this little top stitching, but normally I can get it to do it. I want to top stitch this down. So I'm going to make sure my lining is like nice and flat and my bag is nice and flat. And I'm just going to top stitch this down about 1/8 of an inch or so from the seam. And normally this goes over pretty well. If it's a little sticky for you, just use a Teflon foot instead to do this part. I can usually get it done with the zipper foot, so I don't have to take it off. It's just going to hold everything down. Is it a 3 or 5 zipper? You know, Wanda, honestly, I don't know what the difference is. This is just a plain old zipper that I had in my bag of zippers. I have like 6 bags of zippers, and it's just a regular zipper. You can get the heavier ones. Okay, like that. So there's my little one side of my bag. So we got that one done. So now we're going to do the other side the same way. So I'm going to take the top of my bag. So this is the top. So I'll show you, Jan, this is the top of the bag right here. And we're going to put that over here. So make sure when you do this side that you got it lined up with the first side. And we're going to do the top of the zipper again. Where's my other piece of lining here? Where did it go? Can't find my lining. I lost it. Anybody see my lining? Oh, here it is. I found it. So here's the other piece of lining. And we're going to do the same thing. Put the lining face up. The zipper pouch part is face down. Yeah, you could do that too. It's not that sticky. I usually use a Teflon foot when I sew on like vinyls, but it's not too bad, and I can get over it okay. So I just didn't get it out. All right, so we're just going to clip this on. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So we're using the zipper, getting the zipper, and make sure everything's lined up so that the bags are not crooked. So we're trying to keep everything lined up the best we can here. Like that. Clip it in. Okay, so there's the second half. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to sew this one together. Make sure all my ends are together. I'm just using the edge of the foot, right, the edge of the zipper foot there to kind of go along the edge of the fabric. It's technically maybe just a little bit bigger seam than it should be, but it works. That's a good way to guide. So I always use that when I'm putting a zipper in. So I'll tie that off and we'll do this side. Sure, I'm still kind of straight here, hopefully. I think my lining's creeping a little bit, so we're gonna. I love these Wonder Clips. Yep, they work great. And I don't use them all the time. I like pins, but they work really well for this because I don't like to put a pin through my vinyl. You know, the vinyl will pierce and then it'll have a hole in it. I don't want that. So I'm a little off right here. There we go. Get this side done. So I had to kind of do a few of these so that I could remember how to do them. It's been a while since I've made them. I have it at 2.5. I usually leave it at 2.5. It's a pretty good length of stitch for most everything. Okay, so then there's this side. So now we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to bring this down. Finger press this down on this side. I like the polka dots. I was just using up fabric I had. You know, I just used what I had in my box. You see a lot of candy purchases. Yeah, they're fun to do this time of year, you know, with all the new candies coming out, like for the fall and the the Christmas holiday and everything. There's so many cute candy bags. So, all right. So then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm just going to do my little top stitch here. Okay. I think I've got everything flat. Make sure everything's flat here. The other night I worked on these one Sunday, and I had my come on, you can do it. I know, there it goes. It doesn't like the vinyl too well, but once I got over it, it's fine. I had this flipped up underneath, you know, and it got caught in something else that it shouldn't have been. So you know how it goes. Had to get the seam ripper out for that. All right. Get this one done. Oh yeah, the Valentine's and Easter ones. Yeah, the spring ones are always really cute too. All right. Yeah, and I've put a lot of zippers, and I'm not really afraid of zippers, but they just take, you know, they take a little time to do, and these are pretty easy to put in. So there's our bag. So we got the zipper in. See how easy that was? We just put one side in and then put the other side in, and see it's all lined on the back. Isn't that beautiful? We did it. That's the hardest part, is putting the zipper in. Okay, so then, oops, I got a little tail hanging out here. There we go. So now we're going to put this together. I'm going to put the bag part together. Okay, we'll use our clips on this part. I don't want to put any pins in there, and we'll probably use pins on the other part. So we're going to pin this together like this. And then the next step I'm going to do is, of course, we're going to reach down here to our zipper here. Oh, I should do that first, shouldn't I? Yep, I'm sorry. Before we start pinning the bag, we're going to open the zipper up. Don't forget to open the zipper. Big red letters. Don't forget to open the zipper at least halfway. All right, open the zipper before you start pinning and sewing together the bag. That's one thing I also do, is I always forget to do the zipper or open the zipper. And then, of course, you know, we have to rip that out to get the zipper open. But it happens. All right. So I'm going to do this like that. Do this side. So don't forget to open your zipper. All right. So we're going to put the zipper teeth towards the lining like that. So it's kind of tip it towards the lining, and then we're going to sew. We're going to clip the lining here, and I'm going to use pins for the lining. Oh yeah, you could do that. You could buy the bags, and then you could put the candy back in it and give them the candy and the bag. That'd be a cute gift. What a cute gift. All right, so I'm just going to pin the bag. Now we need to leave an opening in the bag to turn this, so I'm going to leave a, you know, maybe about 3 inches or so open on the bottom of the bag here. Oh yeah, you know, we've all learned a lot about seam rippers over the years, haven't we? Okay, so I'm going to leave an opening, you know, so that I can get the bag turned right side out. And we'll sew that together with the sewing machine too, but all right, get that. And do the same thing over here. Make sure that my zipper teeth are going the same direction. Kind of lined up. Now I'm going to put a clip. Well, I think I'll put a pin there. I think I can put a pin in there. And again, when you're doing these, remember to use a plastic zipper. Don't use metal zippers, because you don't want to be sewing over those metal zippers. So it's a plastic zipper. Okay. So this is our bag. This is the lining. So we're going to start sewing on the lining, and we're going to leave that opening in there. We're going to use a 1/4 inch seam, and we're going to use, we're going to leave this opening right here, and then we're going to sew all the way around to the other side. And we're going to sew the bottom of the bag, of course, shut. All right, so I'm going to go and use, I'm going to go back to my J foot now. So we'll take the zipper foot off. I'll put my J foot back on. Whoops, I think I got my thread in there. Go. Oh yeah, wouldn't they be cute? And that would be really cool though. I think it'd be fun to like give them the bag of candy and take the candy out of the bag and make the bag and then put the candy back in. Wouldn't that be cool? I like that idea. That'd be really cool. All right, so I'm going to go to my Q02 stitch, which is my 1/4 inch seam. And I'm going to start here. We're just going to sew around. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go forward, and I am going to back stitch over this one just so that I have a good tie off there. And I'm using Q02, which is my 1/4 inch piecing stitch. It moved the needle over towards the right, and I'm just running my fabric right along the edge of my J foot. See if I got everything lined up here still. All right, so hopefully, yeah, aren't these fun? Okay, so what I do when I get to this zipper, I'm going to take this pin out. I like to go over the zipper, okay, and then I like to back up over it, reverse over the zipper, because remember we're going to cut the zipper off, so I like to make sure it's good and solid in there, okay? Yeah, the little bags are really fun. I've made a lot of little bags like this. And these are really fun, and they're like, you know, all the kids have like earphones and earbuds and all that, and that's what I keep in mind is my little wireless earphones here with the little charger thing. That's what I keep in here. All right, so we're going to go on down this, and I'm just using 2.5 for the length. I don't make the stitch longer. And again, I'm using polyester sewing thread just so it's strong. And if you want a little deeper seam, if you're worried about it, just leave your needle in the center and go with your edge of your foot, and it'll give you about a 3/8 inch seam if you're worried about your seam. I've done them both ways, so it doesn't matter. This one's a pretty good size bag. Those little bags, you don't want to take any deeper seam than is necessary because, you know, they're pretty small anyway. So, okay, a second. I'm a little crooked here, so let me get this lined up a little bit better. They're a little hard to move because they're sticky. Okay, there we go. So when I get back over here to this zipper, I'm going to sew over it twice again. Because I want to make sure that, because since we're going to cut it off, we want to make sure we have, you know, it well adhered into the bag here, well sewn in. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the zipper. And I'm going to back up over it. Okay, and then we'll sew over it again. There we go. Coming down this side. Yeah, it is. It's really fun, Jan. I mean, these are fun to do. It took me a little while to get the hang of sewing them together, but once I got the hang of it, I was okay. I just don't do zippers every day, so I had to kind of relearn how to do the zipper part. Make sure I had it sewn together right, you know. All right, so then we're going to go down here, and we're going to back up and leave that little opening so we can turn our bag. All right, and cut off. We're almost done, guys. I think we're going to be able to do it. Yeah, you could. The larger ones, if you wanted to put a chain on it, or you could put it on the outside. Yeah, put a little chain so you could put it over your shoulder. Yep, they're cute. So here's our zipper. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my scissors here. But don't forget to open the bag. So, oh, you like the pins? You like the pins? The pins are good. Okay, so I'm just going to cut my zipper off here. I'm kind of, oops, I didn't get this one very well, did I? I'm making a mess all over my sewing machine. Cut this part off. Okay. And that's why you want to leave it a little, you know, have a little one that's just a little bit long. All right. So then we're going to turn this right side out. So what I like to do is Grandma's little trick in my corners on my corners the best I can. It's a little hard to do that on the bag. So I'm going to do Grandma's little trick on these to keep the bag corners nice and neat. I'm going to put my first finger in there, and I'm just going to pull down to the seam, push into the seam like that. Okay. And I'm going to turn it right side out. And it just makes those little corners stay nice and neat. Okay. So I'm pushing it into the seam allowance and pushing it down to the seam allowance. I know I love these scissors. These are old. I've had these were like those Gingers that they had, you know, certain ones that had different, I'm going to open the bag, the rest of the zipper up if I can get to it. Okay. They had, these are old. I've had these a very long time. Shortly after I moved down here, I got those. And I have a little pair too. I have the little like embroidery scissors too. All right, so then we're going to turn this right side out. So excuse, like I said, I'm a little sweaty, so it's going to take me a minute to get this to go. Everything's sliding tonight. Oh my gosh. All right, getting it turned right side out. There we go. We're getting it. Now you do want to be careful with the corners. Remember, this is still a bag, okay? So you do want to be a little careful with the corners. And I don't turn the corners on the bag part because it's just really hard. So I'm just going to come down here with my fingers and get the corners as well as I can. And see, there's that little spot where we had the fabric. Yeah, my thermometer also says 89 outside. Like I said, on my doorstep when I came home, it said it was 123 degrees on my doorstep because that's where the little thing is for my weather station. Okay, so now I'm hunting for my favorite tool, one of my favorite tools. This is my Floriani, precision turning tool. So I'm going to go into the bag and I'm just going to work those corners out just a little bit. Now be careful, because remember, this is a bag. Don't stick your tool through the corners. Do the best, just gently work them out. It looks pretty good. Okay, so there's our bag corners. Love this tool. So if you don't have one, those are also on the website. They're well worth it. I have like 3 of them. Okay, so there is our bag. Look. We're almost done. We have one more little step. So there's our bag. There's the back. It's looking good. So let me get my scissors out of the way here. Boy, I made a mess, didn't I? I make lots of messes. I'm very good at it. My mother always told me that I was the best mess maker she'd ever seen. She liked to tell me I made messes. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little 1/4 inch seam, you know, along the bottom of this bag, and we're going to, oops, I got all these little ravels, so we'll stick those inside. Or trim them off. And I'm just going to finger press this in. Yes, yeah, that's what the other thing Mom always told me. She said, messes are a sign of creativity. My mother was very creative too. She crocheted, knitted, she was a painter. I think that's where I got it. My grandmother was too. She sewed too, but her big thing, when I was little, she painted. But when I got older, she knitted mostly and crocheted. So crocheted mostly. I'll have to show you some of the things she did. She did filet crochet, and I have the most beautiful Last Supper hanging above my couch in the living room. And it's like, it's probably 4 feet long and 2.5 or 3 feet high. It's beautiful. Okay, so I got that pinned along, and I got the raw edges inside, and we're just gonna top stitch this shut at the bottom. Whoops, except that I need to move my needle over to the center. Center needle position works better, guys. So I moved to Q01 since it's on the same tab, and now I'm in the center. Yep, and then she also, I didn't even know she'd made it, but my dad found it after my mom passed away. He found another one that she had done, and it was the Lord's Prayer, and I have that one hanging in my bedroom, and it's over 4 feet tall and about 3 feet tall, 3 feet wide. So that's all in there. So I have those 2 big pieces plus a lot of small pieces she's done. So yeah, my mom was very creative. All right, so there is the bottom of the bag. So I just top stitched across about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. Okay, so now we can stuff this down in here. And with any luck at all, the zipper works. That's what we hope for. Okay, so here's my zipper. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to get it started. Sometimes I don't want to turn over, so I have to kind of, there we go, like that. Get everything kind of lined up in there and zip it shut. Look at there. I like that one. That one's very cute. I love Reese's peanut butter cups. I thought the yellow polka dots looked good with it, with the orange bag. So isn't that fun? So this is the one you get to choose from. So whoever wins the drawing tonight gets to choose from the Reese's peanut butter cups, the Lifesavers bag. So here's the green Lifesavers bag, the Hershey's milk chocolate, and this was like a snack size one. And this one I had fabric in too. This matches my lining. So here's the lining here, and I had to put a piece of fabric down here in this corner. Isn't that cute? I love the yellow polka dots, yeah. Or I'm going to finish this one too. Or if you would like to have the M&M bag, this one's still not finished, but you could also have the M&M bag. So you'll have to tell me which one you want, okay? So I'll finish that one up after class. I want to finish it so it's done. So what do you think? So you zip the bag, unzip the bag. Got a nice lining in there with a little extra zipper. You like the Reese's? Yeah, I kind of like that one too. I like the orange. I like orange. So, all right. So there's our bag. We did it. So what do you think of that little method? So when I'd seen these before, most people just did like the vinyl fuse over the bag and then just put a lining in it and didn't put any quilting. And I kind of thought the quilting was nice because it gave it a little bit more body so that these hold up pretty well. Because like I said, this is old. I've had this bag for probably it's 5 or 6 years old, and I've had something in it all the time. So they do hold up, I think, better with the quilting in there. Just a little more body to the bag. So, okay. So you have the choice between Hershey's, the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, the Lifesavers, and the M&Ms. So I'll finish up the M&M bag. Okay. Let me see if I can get my camera switched over here. And we'll have a drawing. You guys ready for the drawing? Everybody have fun with the bags. They are really fun. And it's something that you can just, it's a funny little thing that you can make for people. And I liked whoever had the idea, who was it that said, take the candy out of the bag, make the bag and put the candy back in to give it to them? Who said that? That's a good idea. I like that. So it is a very fun project. Yeah, I saw this years ago when the machines first came out with Design Center. I think maybe one of the brother educators was doing a little demo with these or something, and she kind of showed the girls, and I never saw the demonstration. It was at like an event or something. So I never saw the demonstration, and everybody said, can we make the bags? Can we make the bags? So they were describing it to me. And so I just kind of sat down and started playing with it until I figured out how to make them. So the caramel M&Ms, did you cut the side open or the top? Oh, I cut the side open on this little one. Yeah, this is like a king size M&Ms. I cut the side open. I was just careful when I opened them. Instead of ripping it, I cut it with a pair of scissors so I could keep it. So then you'll be thinking about your candy wrappers way differently now, right? You'll be carefully, no, don't rip it open. You'll be cutting it very carefully with a rotary cutter or with a pair of scissors so you can make bags out of them. Isn't that cool? But yeah, this was a fun one. This one's pretty small. So, all right. So you have your choice of 4 bags tonight, and I will send you the one that you wanted. And I will keep some of the other ones for samples. They're fun. So they might end up in the gift bag as well. So, you know, Skittles will be good. I like the Skittles bags. Those are pretty. Yeah. And I think some of these bags, I actually opened them with a rotary cutter just, you know, so that they were nice and smooth and straight. So yeah, these are way easier to make than the little ones are, because the little ones are harder. And most of the ones I've made have actually been the small ones. So these were way easier to make, these bigger ones. So, but they hold a lot of stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. All right. So let's see here. I got to find my tablet. Oh, the goldfish. Yeah, you can get a bag. Can you get a bag for the goldfish too? Oh, what am I going to line the M&M bag? I'll show you in a second. I've got the fabric back here. I didn't have red polka dots. I had red stars. So it's red stars instead of polka dots. I didn't have any red polka dots left. Not big enough anyway. So this is what I used, was red stars. So that's what's going to be in the M&M bag. Yes, you would be very cool if you came to school with a candy bag as your like pencil case. You could put your you could put your pencil case. I got the hiccups. Let me take a drink. I've got the hiccups. Oh, hopefully that'll get rid of them. But yeah, so wouldn't that be cool? You could put your stuff in there. That you'd be really cool if you had a candy bag to do that. All right, so that's going to be the lining for the M&M bag, the stars, red stars. And I've got a brown zipper for it. You like the Reese's? You like the peanut butter cup one? Yeah, I do too. And my favorite candy is Hershey's milk chocolate. So I like this one too. They do have candy printed fabrics. They do. I've seen that they do. So if you could find one that kind of matched the bag, put that in there if you've got a clear spot. Yeah. I was just using pieces of fabric that kind of look cool with it. So this one, it has this little flower print, and then see my lining is the same. So it was kind of a brown bag. So I thought I'd put something cute on the inside. So, okay. And then this one, I think I just used green. The green bag, and I thought, well, it's mint, so I wanted green, so I put some green swirly fabric inside. So, all right. Okay, so are you ready for the drawing? Let's see who wins tonight. I'm going to swirl all my comments. So if you made a comment, you got entered. You like the M&Ms? So yeah, so if you win, you can choose the M&M bag. I'll finish it up after class. Yes, you could make some candy fabric with the new print moda. Yep. All right, so let's see who wins the bag tonight. All right, I'm going to put my finger down. My finger's down, and it says Amanda Thomas. So Amanda, you're probably away from here. So if you're away from here, please personal message me through Facebook your name and your mailing address and which bag you want. So Amanda Thomas, you're the winner of the candy wrapper bag. So congratulations. And so go ahead and personal message me your name and address, and then which bag you want. There's the Hershey's bag, the Reese's peanut butter cup bag, the Lifesavers bag. This is the biggest one. And then also the M&M's bag, which is still to be finished, to be continued, right? So Amanda Thomas, you are the winner of the bag. And those we'll put some more bags maybe in the gift bag so we can have some more winners for the bags. How about that? All right. So next week, let me look at my calendar here. Next week is the 5th Wednesday. So we're going to take next week off. Okay. So next Wednesday will be the week before Labor Day anyway. So we're not going to have class next Wednesday night, the 30th, because it's the 5th Wednesday. And then we will start up again on September 6th. We will have class, and then we will do our October Kimberbell Cutie. So we're going to be doing the little witches hats, the little Kimberbell Cutie with the witches hats. So that's what we're going to be doing that night. So we won't have class next Wednesday, but we'll have class on the 6th of September. I can't believe it's almost Labor Day already. Can you believe it? So anyway, I hope you had fun. I had a lot of fun tonight too. And congratulations, Amanda, for winning the bag. And I will see you all in 2 weeks. So we'll have a week off. Are you making more cards? I have been making cards. I've also been learning to foil with my mink. So I've been doing some of that stuff. And then we're getting ready for the quilt show in Des Moines at the end of September. Shield Sewing is going to be the brother booth out there. So please come out and see us if you're near Des Moines, Iowa. We're going to be out there. It's the last week in September, Wednesday through Saturday, the last week. It's right before the 1st of October. And then we're going to be doing a make and take. So I'm going to do a make and take with the scan and cut. So come out and see us and sit down and make something fun at the quilt show. So I hope so. I hope it's cooler in my sewing room. It's kind of hot in here, so I'm probably sweaty looking. trying to keep from getting too hot. So thanks everybody. So remember, no class next week. We'll be back on September 6th, and I'll see you then for Kimberbell Cutie. So thanks everybody. Have a nice night.